So after that we will start. We'll start after 5 minutes. Patience now.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So now we'll start. Will you start now? Are you ready? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
good evening to all. Okay. Good evening to all. So welcome to MEG-5 Literary Criticism and Theory, uh, Block 2, topic Classical Criticism. So last class already discussed. That's an introduction, and I had already hinted you a lot about an introduction, touching some important points in nutshell. Today also the same strategy, same process. As earlier I told, and I have been saying, duration is 1 hour. So within that short span, to touch all this is impossible because so the topic is very vast. It's a vast topic. Had it been offline classes, we would have tried, and also it would have been done, but in online impossible. But to make it possible, only touching or going through some important points, that's very essential.
Sir, I have a
That's
request.
hello.
Yes, sir, I have a request to make.
Okay, okay. Start.
Sir, can you please provide notes at the end of the class so that we can easily revise what you have taught?
What's telling?
Sir, I'm saying, sir, can you please provide notes at the end of the
Okay, okay.
class?
No,
It
no,
would be,
no. Yes, yes. Because
yes,
already in
sir.
the last class, already you see, already in my last class, I told that. So not now.
Yeah,
Don't be
yeah.
sorry. I'm sorry. At the end of
Yes,
the entire
sir.
session, now, so we have to come here for 8 classes. We will meet each other. Taking 8 periods means 8 days, 8 days, as it has eight
Uh,
blocks. So after the completion of all these 8 blocks, so I will try. And once
y-
I have
y-
given,
sir,
means
that's
told
what
you
I'm
means I will give.
saying. Sir, can you please provide notes at the end of every class to which what you have taught so that in case we have any query or any doubt or we want to discuss anything or ask anything, so we
Okay,
can
okay, I understand.
mark it and
I
ask it in the next class.
Okay, I understand your feeling problem, but you see, I have many accomplishments to do every day. So I have prepared that should be taught within this 2 hour duration. But more than that is to be uh, okay prepared. But so it's time taking. So you are getting it. You are getting it. There's no doubt in it. After the end of class, we are speaking because also I am preparing for the next class today. Just after the completion of the present discussion, again I have to prepare for the next class. That's tomorrow.
Yes,
Block
sir, I
three.
completely understand.
Okay. Oh, okay, I will help you. I will help you to the best of my ability as far as possible, but not if not now. So at the end, just you wait. After that's 8 days. So I will help you. I will help you through the
Okay, sir.
that's your WhatsApp number. You take my number, and accordingly we will send block wise. I will help you sending block wise, topic wise. At first block one, then block two, block three. Okay, I know this topic is very difficult. 2 hour duration is not some that sufficient enough. So, but what shall we do? As it has been prefixed by them, it has been prefixed by them, not by us. Had we done it, we would have just taken one more class, one more duration, 3 hours or 4 hours. Well, so 2 hours, it has been prefixed by them. So accordingly, we have to proceed. So don't go sorry and sorry. So at the hour of need, I will give you everything. I will help you. I will help you. Once I have told you means I will keep it till the end. And also I will help you at the hour of need, taking your coming examination into account. Well, you see, so now to start, the topic is classical criticism. That is block two. Okay, I understand, no problem. Okay, I will do that. I will do that. I'll do that in the long run. Means after the end of the session. You simply listen what I'm speaking. Just touching some important points in nutshell that are required, essential for all of you. Uh, Keeping your examination into account. Well, so at first you have to know some important points as earlier I discussed last class accordingly. So classical criticism means classical criticism theory in English literature. Topic is classical criticism theory in English literature. Let's know the origin of the classical theory first. Let's know the origin of the classical theory first. Where was it originated? So, classical theory criticism originated in ancient Greek society. Classical literary criticism originated in ancient Greek society. Greek art of thoughtful creation. There are a few very different concepts in our modern ideas. So now we have to know what is classics. What is classics? What is classics? In the classical literary criticism, in the classical literary criticism, the classics are works of fiction. The classics are works of fiction. like Shakespeare, Jane Austen, Thomas Hardy, that are relevant to all ages. Understand? Like Shakespeare's Jane Austen, Jane Austen is a fiction, and Thomas Hardy is the Mayor of Castle Beach, and that are relevant to all ages, to all times. Classics are books that have stood the test of time for their relevance, their universal appeal, simplicity, regularity of form, and a sense of beauty and balance. Means we just find all these elements or all these features in the books of classic or classical literary criticism. Long before the term, long before the term literary criticism came into practice, literary theory existed as far as far back as 4th century BC. Plato and Aristotle, both these two philosophers, Plato and Aristotle in Greece shaped the core of classical literary criticism in ancient period. Understand? So, who are the stalwart figures or the pioneers? Plato and Aristotle. Okay. They play a very important role in the present discussion. Plato and Aristotle in Greece shaped the core of classical literary criticism in ancient period. So now, what is classical literary criticism? Now we know what is classics and who are the founding father or forefathers or that the stalwart figures uh, in classical literary criticism. These two persons, that Plato and Aristotle. So now, what is classical literary criticism? Classical literary criticism is simply described as ancient theories. It is simply described as ancient theories and speculations of other ancient thinkers, with some respected writers such as Aristotle and Plato. Okay, so these two respected writers uh, that now just we are going to uh, present, taking this definition or that topic into account. That's respected writers such as Aristotle and Plato forming the core of a classical literary criticism. Core of classical literary criticism in ancient times. The term classical literary criticism refers to both Greek and Roman civilization. The term classical literary criticism refers to both Greek and Roman civilization. Means we find the entire happenings of Greek and Roman civilizations in classical literature. Classical literary criticism is thought to have existed as long as literature. In the 14th century BC, 4th century BC, Plato and Aristotle were the critics who gave guidelines of a good literature without themselves being creative writers. Plato's attack on poetry as secondary, secondary, and false were formative as well. Aristotle wrote the Poetics Plato's attack on poetry. That's very important today also to be discussed. Just after that, no, today also we have to discuss that. So Plato's attack on poetry. Uh, then Aristotle wrote the Poetics, which developed for the first time the concepts of mimesis. Concept of mimesis means imitative representation of the real world. Mimesis means imitative representation of the real world in art and literature. So concepts of mimesis and catharsis. Catharsis means the process of releasing. Catharsis means mimesis means the imitative representation of uh, the real world in art and literature. And catharsis means the process of releasing and thereby providing relief from strong or repressed emotions. Just one example, just I'm quoting here, taking that. Music is a means of catharsis for them. Music is a means of catharsis for them. Means after listening, they feel relaxed. Well, so that is the concept of mimesis and catharsis. Uh, so now I just knew all these things. Okay, then that's Plato, because we just come across these two important or respected persons, philosophers in this discussion, that is Plato and Aristotle. So now to discuss about that is Plato. Plato, as you know, Plato was the first ancient philosopher who had given a systematic shape to criticism. Plato was the first ancient philosopher who had given a systematic shape to criticism. Plato's ideas are expressed in several books. Okay, so means Plato has expressed his ideas in several books, uh, and these books are, and among these books, among them being the Dialogue, Ion, Crito, and the Republic. So in these books, Plato has expressed his ideas. The theory of forms, also called the realm of ideas or realm of ideals. Plato's philosophy, real mean field or domain of activity or interest. Real means the field or domain of activity or interest. So that this Plato's philosophy asserts that there are two realms, means two domains, so two types of interest activity: the physical realm, the physical activity, and the spiritual realm relating to that religion. The spiritual realm means domain. The spiritual realm means domain or field exist exist beyond the physical realm. Plato, Plato speaks the spiritual domain or field or activity exists beyond the physical realm. Plato's theory of forms asserts that the physical realm is not only a shadow or replica. Replica means that is an exact copy or model of something. Means Plato's theory forms asserts that, means makes us sure that the physical domain or activity or field is only a shadow or replica. Means that's the uh, exact copy of or model of something, exact copy or model of something, or image of the true reality of the realm of forms. Then Plato's attack on poetry. It's important. Plato's attack on poetry. Also, you see, in the present discussion, we come across also some short notes. That's Plato's attack on. This is a long question. Plato's attack on poetry, then Aristotle's theory of tragedy, then myths, then importance of myths, then music. Okay, music in that classical criticism, music or drama, uh, or the importance of music or drama in classical literature. We will discuss that after that. So now Plato's attack on poetry. As you know that Plato is famous for having banished poetry, for having banished poetry and poets from the ideal city of the republic. In his opinion, poetry or art in general, means Plato speaks, states that poetry or art in general is a copy of a copy. This is told by Plato. Poetry or art in general is a copy of a copy. It is twice removed from a reality. Who speaks? Plato speaks. So it means it is poetry or art in general is a copy of a copy. It is twice removed from a reality. The creation of a poets, Plato speaks, the creation of poets and artists, the creation of poets and artists being mere copies of copies. As as you know that it's so it's a copy of the copy. Plato speaks poetry or art in general is a copy of a copy. It is twice removed from the reality. Plato states, sure, it is being mere copies of ideal reality, are that is distortions of truth, values, and indeed potentially misleading. The example he actually uses is a lot is of a bed. The example he actually uses is of a bed. Plato speaks. Plato just cites the example taking a bed. God created the idea of the bed. Plato speaks God created the idea of the bed. God created, God speculated it. The carpenter creates an actual bed from his imperfect perfection of the idea. Who built the bed or made the bed? Carpenter. But God formed an idea in his mind, thought in his mind. But the carpenter gave it a new form, gave it a new look, means made it. The carpenter creates an actual bed from his imperfect perfection of the idea. The poet or artist only produces a superficial imitation. Who? According to Plato. Because now discussing Plato's attack on poetry, Plato's attack on poetry. So, according to Plato, the poet or artist only produces the poet or artist only produces a superficial imitation. The poets or artist only produces superficial imitation, means mimesis, means that imitative representation of the real world. Mimesis means imitative representation of the real world in art and literature. Means it is a way of thinking about a world. So that is superficial imitation, means images of the carpenter's bed. For Plato, the highest truth is strict, mathematical, intellectual. Means for Plato thinks the highest poetry and art is not the highest truth, according to Plato. So Plato thinks the highest truth is strict, mathematical, intellectual. Poetry doesn't deal in such truth and may distract us from inspiration and may distract us from truth. Means uh, poetry is distracting us from truth. The actual truth is that is mathematical, intellectual. A poet doesn't deal in such truth and may distract us from truth. For Plato, poets depend on inspiration. For Plato, poets depend on inspiration. Unless until you are inspired, you can write poems. So too, we had a just poem in our times that poet, lover, and bird watcher. So if you want to be a good poet, you have to have patience and confidence. And also, if you want to be a good bird watcher to that shoot and bat, so also you have to have patience. You have to wait. And also, if you want to be a good lover, to win the heart of anyone, sure, lady, that's you have to also have patience. Watch and wait. So that these two words need patience or require patience. Unless until you become, if you become impatient, so you can't. So we have to be hopeful and patient to get all these things, to be a good poet, to be a good lover, and also a bad watcher. So that is for Plato, poets depend on inspiration, which is a form of madness, instead of reason and knowledge. Instead of reason and knowledge. We'll discuss later on Plato's classification of the knowledge. How does Plato that state uh, the knowledge, writers in different ways? In 28 lines, Plato has expressed that is knowledge. So, which is a form of madness instead of a reason and knowledge. Plato suggests that poets are liars. You see, how does he speak? How does he speak against the poets? That Plato suggests that poets are liars. They're not real, unreals. Because though they're inspired, which is a form of madness instead of reason and knowledge, they have no knowledge. They're inspired. So being inspired by others, they go on writing poems. So it is one type of or one kind of or form of madness because they do not have any reason and knowledge. So Plato suggests that poets are liars. In Homer's epics, the Iliad and Odyssey, for example, the gods lie and cheat and are one of the main causes of suffering among humans. In Homer's epics, Iliad and Odyssey you might have heard. For example, the gods lie and cheat and are one of the main causes of suffering among humans. Even the mortals, because man is the mortal, even the mortals, human beings, in these words, still complain and hate each other. Still, S-T-E-L, still. Even the mortals, mean the bipeds with the men, human beings, in these words, still complain and hate each other. Such writings argues Plato a set of bad example for Greek citizens and may lead people down paths of wickedness and immortality. Okay. So this is because if I just quote you for you many lines about that. So because you can go to discuss other important lines, or you can even touch with some other lines. So only everything not so as earlier told. So now Plato's knowledge that as you know that Plato was an Athenian philosopher who was a student of Socrates. Plato was the student of Socrates and the teacher of Aristotle. So now uh, Plato said 29 course on knowledge and learning from the father of Western philosophy. One, we can easily forgive a child. Plato's knowledge, 29 course on knowledge. Plato speaks, we can easily forgive a child who is afraid to the dark. The real tragedy of life is when men are afraid of the light. So Plato's knowledge, 29 course on knowledge, Plato speaks, we can easily forgive a child who is afraid of the dark. The real tragedy of life is when men are afraid of the light. Then two, a good decision is based on knowledge and not on numbers. Number two, just listen, a good decision is based on knowledge and not on numbers. Then three, thinking the talking of the soul with itself, not on numbers. Thinking the talking of soul with itself. Next, there is no harm in repeating a good thing. There is no harm. There is no harm in repeating a good thing. If a good thing is there, you go on repeating it, so it has no harm. It doesn't create any harm. Then truth is five. Then truth is the beginning of every good to the gods. Truth is the beginning. Truth is the beginning of every good to the gods and of every good to man. Then six, knowledge without justice ought to be called cunning rather than wisdom. Plato speaks. These are the 29 quotes of Plato. Knowledge without justice, 29 quotations. The knowledge without justice ought to be called cunning rather than wisdom. Then next seven. The first and greatest victory is to the first and greatest victory is to conquer yourself. To be conquered by yourself is of all things most shameful and vile. Then next 8, wealth and poverty. Wealth and poverty. One is the parent of luxury and indolence. Wealth and poverty. One is the parent of luxury and indolence. And the other of meanness and viciousness, and both of discontent. Understand? It's a very good quotation of Plato. Again, I am repeating it because I earlier told. So if we just go on repeating good things, so it's wise and will be better and also more than it may be regarded as the best. So the evolution, wealth and poverty. At first, wealth. One is the parent of luxury and indolence. If you have a lot of wealth, if you become a rich man, then what happens? So you have to lead your life luxuriously, and automatically, slowly and gradually, you will be indolent, means lazy. You will not take interest to do anything. Okay. And the other of meanness means poverty, poverty, meanness, and viciousness, and both of discontents, and both, that is wealth and poverty, it will lead to that discontent. Then next, an empty vessel makes the loudest sound. Plato's, this is another quotation that quotes of Plato on knowledge. And the empty vessel makes the loudest sound. I will send it. I will just send it through. That's I'll giving you or providing you the note. All these are the 29 quotes of Plato on knowledge. I'll send it again. Um, so have you kept my number? Hello, hello.
No, sir.
No, sir.
You take my okay. You take my number, and after the end of the session, so I will give you everything. That is block wise. Okay, you take my number, and through WhatsApp, only it's possible through WhatsApp. I will send you. Give. Okay. Don't be so worry and sorry. Rather be very cheery and merry. Have patience and confidence. Patience and confidence. Okay, and continue. So that is an empty vessel makes the loudest sound. So they have so they that have the least wit are the greatest babblers. Understand? The least wit are the greatest babblers. So we have that novel I've forgotten. There's a proverb called "Fools rush where angels fear to tread." You might have heard that. Fools rush where so it's a novel. You might have heard this. Fools rush where angels fear to tread. Means wise. Here angels means wise persons endowed with a lot of knowledge. Okay, knowledgeable persons, learned persons fear. They never go there, but the fools go there and try to just have a chit chat with others. Well, sure, that is sure. They have the least wit are the greatest babblers. The next, opinion is the medium between knowledge and ignorance. Yes, opinion is the medium between knowledge and ignorance. The next, 11. If a man neglects education, that is 11th quotation or quotes on knowledge. If a man, if a man neglects education, if a man neglects education, he walks lame to the end of his life. He walks lame to the end of his life. Next, all men are by nature equal. 12. All men are by nature equal, made all of the same earth by one workman. The next 13. Books give a soul to the universe. Books give a soul to the universe. Wings to the mind. Flight to the imagination. And a life to everything. Again repeating. Books give a soul to the universe. Yes. Wings to the mind. Flight to the imagination. And a life to everything. It's a very good quotation. Then 40. The measure of a man is what he does with his power. The measure, MEASURE. The measure, the measure of a man is what he does with power. Next 15. The direction in which education starts, the direction in which education starts, a man will determine his future in life. So depending on the education, if you are getting the education properly and thoroughly, then you have to just take up that or will think to take or admit sure that is the measure of a man is what does with his power. The direction in which education starts, a man will determine his future in life. Okay, so his future will be determined accordingly, the way he has been educated. So opinion is the medium between what I have discussed. Yes. Uh, Opinion between knowledge and ignorance. Wise men speak because they have something to say. Wise men, 17, quotation 17. Wise men speak because they have something to say. Fools because they have to say something. Understand? Wise men speak because they have something to They have something to say. Fools speak because they have to say something. You just differentiate it. Next, do not train a child. Do not train a child to learn by force or harshness. Do not train a child to learn by force or harshness. Means just by torturing or showing fear or creating fearness. Never compel or let him to go for schooling. So do not train a child to learn by force or harshness, but direct them to it by what amuses their minds, so that you may be better able to discover with accuracy the peculiar bent of the genius of each. Means its meaning is that you just do not force them, rather tell them politely in a different way, in an amusing manner, so that they will receive everything without any hesitation. Next 19, bodily exercise when compulsory. Bodily exercise when compulsory does no harm to the body. Bodily exercise when compulsory does no harm to the body, but knowledge which is acquired under compulsion obtains no hold on the mind. Then 20, ideas are the source of all things. Ideas are the sole source of all things. Then 21, when two friends like you and me are in a mood to chat, when two friends like you and me are in the mood to chat, we have to go about it in a gentler and more dialectical way. Then knowledge becomes evil if the aim be not virtuous. Knowledge becomes evil if the aim be not virtuous. Then 23. A library of wisdom, a library of wisdom is more precious than all wealth. A library of wisdom is more precious than all wealth and all things that are desirable cannot be compared to it. Sure. Then 24, last one, 2 to 3. No one is more hated than he who speaks the truth. No one is more hated than he who speaks the. So see, these are the 29 quotes of Plato. Okay. Just I'm speaking in short, only telling the lines. Okay, so in these ways, so I'm not discussing all this. So that's all about the 29 course on knowledge and learning uh, from the father of Western philosophy. Who? Plato, father of Western philosophy. So now that's So now, okay, so so okay, hello. So because sorry, because of some technical problems. uh, okay. So are you able to listen to me? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay,
Yes,
okay.
sir.
Okay, because of inward problems. Well, so now, what are the approaches of classical literary criticism? So now you knew some features of classical criticism, or also some lines about Plato and his 29 course on knowledge and everything. So, so now, the approaches of classical literary criticism. Approaches, approaches that what are the approaches to classical criticism? So one is the formalist criticism. There are three approaches to. There are three approaches to formalist criticism. There are three approaches to formalist criticism. Okay, Nalishin. So there are three approaches to literary classical literary criticism. There are three approaches to classical literary criticism. One is formalist criticism. One is formalist criticism. Now let's know some lines about formalist criticism. Now some lines about formalist criticism. Formalist opposed in line with this text. Opposed in in line with this text because the definition explains all other considerations are irrelevant. Formal criticism is placed in the institution because it focuses on the text. These are the lines. In short, formal criticism is placed in the institution because it focuses on the text and not on any external factors. It only gives emphasis on the text and not on any external. Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And not on any external factors. And not on any external factors such as the author, the real world, viewers, or other books. Okay. So means we are not getting all this in formal criticism, only about the text. Then historical criticism. Only in that small lines. Historical criticism. Only to 2 to 3 lines. Uh, Historical criticism. In this view, now just we know about the approaches of classical literary criticism. One is formal criticism. They focus on the text, not on any external factors. Now, historical criticism. In this view, the work is given the author's belief. The work is given the author's belief, prejudices, time, and history. And in order to fully understand the work, we must understand the author and his age. But in formal criticism, we do not find anything about the author, only about the text. But here, about the author uh, and his age. Historical criticism relies heavily on the author and on his world. Then intertextual criticism. Then intertextual criticism. So now just we are getting five approaches of classical criticism. So it is a question. So describe five approaches of classical criticism. Just I'm reading out. One is formalist, historical, then intertextual, then mimetic criticism. Last one is psychological criticism. Just I'm explaining in in a nutshell. Okay. Taking only touching 2 to 3 lines of each. So now intertextual criticism. Criticism. So what do you mean by intertextual criticism? Uh, it's between texts. Formalist that you knew about to the text and historical about the author and his age, and intertextual. Inter means in between text to text. It is between text is concerned with comparing the work in question with other text. Okay, suppose it is the comparison of two texts. What do we find in one text and what are or what's written in the another text? what is presented in the another text. Okay, so comparison. So it's nothing rather a comparison between two texts. Just wait 2 to 3 minutes. I'm coming now. Okay, so now to start. So, hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's so intertextual means so it's the comparison concerned with comparing the work in question with other texts to get a broader picture. One can compare one can compare a piece of work with another of the same author. Do you get me? One can compare a piece of work with another of the same author. Suppose the author has many that activities or presentations or writings. So uh, we can compare one piece of work with another of the same author, the same movement of text or the same historical background. Okay, so it is about intertextual. Then mimetic criticism. Mimetic criticism. Mimetic criticism seeks to see how the work fits into the world, how the work fits into the world, how a piece of literature conveys the truth accurately is the main argument for this style of writing. And then psychological criticism. Last, psychological criticism. It attempts to define the moral foundations. It attempts to define the moral foundations of the characters, to define the moral foundations of the characters in the middle of the selection, to analyze the actions and the thoughts that have been made to fall under any senses that can be identified, even if psychological disturbances are detected among them. So it was all about your that approaches of a classical criticism, formalist criticism, historical, intersexual, mimetic, and psychological. It is about the psychology of the characters, or moral foundations of the characters. Well, so now to start, that is myth, third question, and at the end we'll discuss Aristotle. So now, myth, the third question. Means what do you mean myth and creation of myth? What do you mean by myth and creation of myth? As you know that the word myth comes from the Greek word mythos, meaning the story of the people, fiction, utterance, tale, and or legend. So it comes from the Greek word mythos, meaning the story of the mythos, meaning the story of the people, fiction, utterance, tale, everything. But the story, mythos means a story. The traditional meaning of myth is a widely held idea. The traditional meaning of the myth is a widely held idea or belief that is false or incorrect. But the myth definition in literature is vastly different. In literature, the word myth is used to describe a traditional story. In literature, the word myth is used to describe a traditional story that typically aims to explain a natural or social phenomenon. In literary myths, the use of supernatural beings is common, and the time period usually dates back to a period of early history of the beginning of various civilizations. Why? Then characteristics. So now you knew the that the general meaning of the word myth. Now characteristics. A myth at its most basic level is a story. So myth means for story. It's a traditional story. In literature, myth means it's a traditional story. Or so a myth at its most basic level is a story that aims to explain a specific culture's belief. Understand? It's a story that aims to explain a specific culture's belief, origin, or purpose. Origin or purpose. While the content of myths will vary from culture to culture, the content of myths will vary from culture to culture. There are some defining characteristics common to all myths. Most myths contain some or all of the following characteristics. So types of myths. Types of myths, as you know, there are various types of myths that exist today, surviving the test of time and place. Different types of myths that we nowadays find, surviving the test of time and place. So now creation of myths. Creation. The story of Adam and Eve in the Christian tradition is an example of a creation of creation myth. The story of Adam and Eve in the Christian tradition is an example of a creation myth. And after that, we will discuss music in literature, music and drama in literature. So, as a little, so it has a lot of points, important points, and also some sub points. Many things are there. So, how can we just compromise taking 2 hours? No, impossible. So, only some important points. So, that's the story of Adam and Eve in the Christian tradition is an example of a creation myth. A creation myth, also known as an origin, is also known as an origin story. A creation myth, also known as an origin story, attempts to convey how a people attempts to convey how a people, a culture, a civilization, or a place came to be, or how it existed. Came to mean how it existed. What is people, a culture, a civilization, or a place came to be or existed. In Egyptian culture, are, are you listening? Are you listening?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So, in in Egyptian culture, the ancients believed that autumn rose up from none. Autumn rose up from none or nothingness and created the world with the help of the children. In the Christian tradition, followers believe God created the heavens. In the Christian tradition, uh, in Christian tradition, followers believe God created the heavens and the earth along with a race of angels. He then created Adam. He then created Adam, the first man, as you know, and then Eve, the first woman. He then created Adam, the first man, and then Eve, the first woman. From a rib in Adam's chest, the African Bushmen say that humans and animals crawled up. The Africans say that the Africans say that or African Bushmen say that humans and animals crawled up out of center of the earth and lived in peace around an enormous tree until one man disobeyed the great creator. While all origin stories are vastly different, they all aim to explain how human came to be. Okay, in Egyptian culture, in Christian tradition, and also in the African Bushmen. So here, their opinions vary. So are vastly different. They all aim to explain how humans came to be, along with their morals and beliefs. That is called creation of means. So it will differ from that is person to person, civilization to civilization, culture to culture, uh, so on and so forth. Okay, so uh, so there are that's mis examples in literature. There are countless mis examples in literature. Uh, so that's all about the mis in short. So now I'll pass on to the next discussion. That is importance of music in theater. The next discussion, importance of music in theater. Okay, you knew some important lines about me. Let us know more because many things are there. So that many things are many lines are there. If I just go and stick up to that particular, so we can touch others. That's I left. That's enough, sufficient. So now, importance of music in theater. So since the days of ancient Greece, also it's a short question. It's a short question. Sometimes also we're facing it as a long question. Since the days of ancient Greece, music has been an integral part of theater. Music. It is used to set the mood, create atmosphere, and provide relief from the spoken word. In some cases, it is used to further the plot or develop the characters. In others, in other words, it is used to simply to entertain the audience. Actually, it is that we use music or create music to entertain the audience, uh, providing relief from the spoken word. That's in short. You just continue uh, speaking. That is about a topic. So it will that we are going to fade up. So to that relax you from withering or fading you up, that atmosphere is created. Means indirectly it will provide relief from the spoken word. It changes your mood. Means to entertain the audience. So there are many reasons why music is so important in theater. Only it entertains the audience. So there are many reasons why music is so important in theater. First and foremost, it helps to create an immersive experience for the audience. It can transport them to another time and place and make them feel like they are part of the action on stage. So to get relief from the spoken word uh, or monotony, so it is uh, played. Additionally, music can help to set the tone of a production and can be used to heighten the emotional impact of a scene. Suppose a comic scene is there, so music is necessary. It will add the beauty of that comic setup. Or a tragedy is there. If a tragedy is there, someone is going to cry, or the villain is going to stab someone or murder someone. So that type of music is there to heighten or to add the beauty or to make the audience more emotional of that scene. So finally, music is a powerful tool for storytelling. It can be used to convey the inner thoughts and feelings of characters and can help to bring the world of the play to life. Finally, music is a powerful tool for storytelling. It can be used to convey the inner thoughts and feelings of characters and can help to bring the world of the play to life. So, for all these reasons, music is an essential part of theatre. But I told you, Faruna, uh, for all these reasons, music is an essential part of literature. So, uh, first, classical music you might have heard. Classical music, it has a long tradition of being associated with the arts. It is seen as a refined and sophisticated genre of music, time of music, and its association with the arts helps to give it an air of sophistication. Secondly, classical music is one types of music. Classical music is generally very calming and relaxing. Sorry, it's very calming and relaxing, which can be a nice contrast to the chaos of everyday life. Finally, classical music is often seen as a sign of good taste, and so it can be used to add a touch of class to any event. Okay, then uh, so many lines are there about why do we need that what's the importance of music in theater. So it consists of four elements. That's the elements of music in theater. So it consists of four elements uh, that songs, spoken dialogue, acting, and dancing. The musical are no written by any single author. This dance incorporates a wide range of influences and elements over time. So between 1920 and 1959, Broadway Broadway musicals were written and premiered, making them a classic of musical theatre. There are several notable periods in this era, including the golden age of musical theatre, a period in which musicals were popular among the general public and were frequently regarded as important social events. Musical theatre music, in addition to revealing a character's inner emotional life, foreshadows a violent attack or expresses a favorable attitude towards a potential love interest. You might have seen the that's films, so you might have also felt the importance of music that's required if necessary. Okay, uh, or expresses a favorable attitude towards a potential love interest if the hero is going to fall in love with the heroine, so a particular music is there. If a villain is going to just kill someone, a particular music is there. So if a comedian is coming, stepping on the threshold of the stage, so a particular music is there. So various types of musics that are fit for the uh, stage holders or stage performers. Aristotle, the first theatrical scholar, defined drama as a collection of six elements. Aristotle, the first theatrical scholar, defined drama as a collection of six elements: plot, character, thought, diction, music, and spectacle. Classical music is generally regarded classical music is generally regarded generally regarded as serious and thought to have a long-term value to society. Since the classical period, however, it has seen a revival in popularity. So there are many ways in which music and drama can be combined to create a powerful and moving experience. Music can be used to heighten the emotional impact of a scene, as earlier I told, to create a sense of atmosphere or to provide a backdrop to the action. It can also be used to add humor or pathos to a scene, as earlier I told. Suppose a comedian is coming, trying to just enter the stage. So before that, a particular music is there. Suppose a villain is uh, trying to just touch the threshold of the stage. So a particular music is there. So it adds or heightens that the emotional impact of a scene to create a sense of atmosphere or to provide a backdrop to the action. It can also be used to add humor or add pathos to a scene. If someone is dying, so a particular music is fit for that. So it will be played and people will start crying. So drama on the other hand can provide a structure and framework within which the music can be used to maximize effect. Sorry, is used to can be used to maximum effect. When the two are combined skillfully, the result can be truly magical. Means two means music and drama. When the two uh, are combined skillfully, music and drama combined skillfully, the result can be truly magical. The opera form is a dramatic form that combines singing with orchestral accompaniment as well as interludes the overtures. Okay, so there are different types of musics that uh, ranging from the pop, hip hop, jazz, bossa nova, and electronic to hip hop and okay. Then musical theater is the application of a musical piece to a dramatic performance, such as a ballet, stage play, motion picture, or television show. A musical which is both European and American is included. Students, faculty, staff, and guest artists come together every year to participate in the music theater program. Students can pursue a variety of academic courses, including the study of music. So, a performance in which the entire body is sung is frequently referred to as opera. The term musical theatre is often used if there is a dialogue between the actors. Many artists and technicians perform in both musical theatre and opera, and some people and organizations have incorporated all these genres. So many lines are there about the importance of music in theatre. So when a play is enacted, it is made visible by the actors' bodies in their portrayal of characters through which the action is communicated. So it's not told in any other way. A play is not a narration, it's not a monologue. So, a dramatic point of view is one in which the narrator reports on the events of a scene without getting inside characters, private thoughts, or feelings, as if recording sense data such as movement, sound, object, and appearance is impossible. The narration simply records information in place. Okay, so uh, that's the end of the importance of music in theater. So now to focus on to that is Aristotle. Aristotle's mm, theory of tragedy. Aristotle's theory of tragedy. Plato's definition, already definition. So already that's discussed. Plato's definition of a truth. Truth means that the 29 quotes, at least 25 quotes I just quoted for you, extracted 29 quotes that are the Plato's definition of truth. Then Plato's attack on poetry. So then that's myth, meaning of myth, importance of myth, or creation of myth. Then now told that's importance of music in theater. In short, so now that's Aristotle theory of tragedy. Aristotle's theory of tragedy. Although we are going to look at all the six elements of tragedy separately, so Aristotle defines six elements of tragedy. Although we are going to look at all the six elements of tragedy separately, but one thing should be noted that these elements act like a unity when on the stage, and that the separate looking is only for the sake of analysis. When Aristotle talks about them classifying into internal and external, then also it is only for the sake of convenience in analyzing it. People of people often take meat as more important. For Aristotle calls it is soul of a tragedy, but it is not the case. People often take meat as more important. For Aristotle calls it is soul of a tragedy, but it is not the case. He by any means doesn't mean that other elements are less important than meat. The role that meat plays is that of holding the other elements of the play structurally. Myth means plot That story, as earlier I told, myth means plot and ethos means character. Myth means plot and ethos means character. Aristotle defines Aristotle defines plot as the arrangement of the incidents. Defines plot as defines plot as the arrangement of the incidents. That is not the story itself, but the way the incidents are presented to the audience, the structure to the play. According to Aristotle, tragedies where, according to Aristotle, tragedies where the outcomes depend on a tightly constructed cause and effect chain of actions are superior to those that depend primarily upon the character and personality of the protagonist. Plots that meet these criteria will have the following qualities. In a perfect tragedy, character will support, means ethos, cat means ethos, character will support plot. That is, personal motivations will be intricately connected parts of the cause and effect chain of actions, producing pity and fear in the audience. The term Aristotle uses here, hamartia, often translated tragic flaw, has been the subject of much debate. The meaning of the Greek word is closer to mistake than to flaw. And I believe it is the best interpreted in the context of what Aristotle has to say about plot and the law of probability or necessity. According to Aristotle, according to Aristotle, the plot must be a whole with a beginning, middle, and end. According to Aristotle, the plot must be a whole with a beginning, middle, and end. The beginning, called by modern critics the incentive moment, must start the cause and effect chain but not be dependent on anything outside the compass of the play. The middle or the climax must be caused by earlier incidents and itself cause the incidents that follow it. The end or resolution must be caused by the preceding that not events that not lead to other incidents outside the compass of the play. The end should therefore solve or resolve the problem created during the incentive moment. Aristotle classifies plot in two different categories. Plot means that is myth. Myth means plot story. Aristotle classifies plot in two different categories, simple and complex. Aristotle classifies plot in two different categories, simple and complex. Simple plots have only a change of fortune. Simple plots have only a change of fortune Complex plots have both a reversal of intention and a recognition connected with the catastrophe. Both a reversal of intention and a recognition turn upon surprise. Pathos describes the powerful emotions of pity and fear aroused in the audience of a tragedy. Pathos describes the powerful emotions of pity and fear aroused in the audience of a tragedy. Aristotle means pathos is one of the components of tragic plot, along with along with anagnorisis and peripeteia. The emotional effect peculiar to the tragic action is therefore that of promoting the experience of feelings such as pity and terror, which constitutes the ultimate end at which representation of miss ends. Means Aristotle's theory of tragedy is based on two, that myth and uh, character. Myth and uh, ethos. Myth means plot and ethos means character. So how sometimes myth play an important role and sometimes how sometimes ethos means character also play very important role. Then ethos or character. One of the six components of tragedy, character refers to the human beings represented in the drama. Characters refer to the human beings represented in the drama. Aristotle stresses that central aim of a tragedy is not to depict human personalities. Aristotle stresses that the central aim of tragedy is not to aim the aim of tragedy is not to depict human personalities, but rather to present human action. Character can be considered as a second in atmosphere. Character can be considered as a second in atmosphere and a degree of interaction between plot and character. He does this by discussing Aristotle's statements about plot and character in his Poetics. So Aristotle defines tragedy is the imitation of an action that is serious, complete, and of a certain magnitude, in language embellished with each kind of artistic ornament. So, as earlier I told also, uh, there are many uh, character can be considered as second in importance and degree of interaction, uh, as I told. So, Moore maintains that Aristotle did not mean that complicated plot should hold the highest place in a tragedy play. This is because the plot was more often than the simple and therefore not a major point of tragic interest. So Aristotle first introduced hamartia and character in his book Poetics. However, through the years, the word has changed meanings. Many scholars have argued hamartia in his book Poetics is not really the correct meaning and that there is a deeper meaning behind the word. Aristotle concludes that of the three possible meanings of hamartia, missing, error, and offense. So many things are there. We read all about that, and still we couldn't complete many important things left out, and all these left out things we are getting it in due course. As earlier I told, many points are there also in the present discussion that are to discuss because want of time we couldn't do that. Uh, many points are there. Platonic definition of that Plato's definition of truth, as I told, that the quotations. Uh, then importance of tragedy, as I told you now, Greek catharsis. Important point that today we let catharsis. What do you mean that? What do you know about catharsis? Explain the meaning of catharsis. Uh, and neoclassicism also. What are the main characteristics of neoclassicism? Also, one main point in this present discussion. We couldn't touch all these. Okay, so 2 to 3 points we are there that to discuss because of want of time we couldn't do all this. So in later on, at the end of I will give you everything through notes, short points, main points also, lexis, application of music in theater. We discussed done it in detail what in nutshell and kinds of style everything. So today we are going to wind up today's the discussion. So next class, do you know what is to be taught in the next class? Which topic? Hello?
Romantic criticism, right?
Uh, okay, let me see now. Uh, yes. Romantic criticism. Romantic criticism. As to work, that we have to start romantic criticism. So till that, goodbye. And next class, the same time we'll start romantic criticism.
Thank you, sir.